I am going to have us start lying down on the ground in a supported pose today. So if you have a big pillow, grab a bigger pillow. A folded blanket would be great. Of course, you can have your yoga blocks, towels, and any other cushions and eye coverings next to you, nearby. So this pose we're going to start in is going to be a gentle heart opener and a hip opener if you want it. So we'll take our bigger support, whether that's a bolster or a pillow, towards the front of your mat where your legs will be. And then we'll take our towel or our blanket, if you have it. And I have a long rectangular fold I'm starting with. And I'm going to take that long rectangle and fold it one more time, like so. And then I'm going to, my blanket isn't folded that neatly, but I'm going to take this longer rectangle like this and fold it long end to long end. So what I'm trying to get is a longer rectangular shape like this. This may be just an inch or two high. And I'm going to place that towards the top of my yoga mat. And it's going to support the length of my low back all the way up to my head. And I'm actually going to sit on the ground. So I'm sitting on the ground. I'm going to slide that gentle fold right up to my low back. You can leave a little bit of space between your low back and that folded edge of the blanket. And then we want to lengthen out that low back. So I want to scoot my tailbone under slightly. I'm going to use my elbows here, situate myself nice and comfy. Now, if you have some leftover length of your blanket and you want a little extra support for the head, you can tuck it under. Or just slide an extra towel or pillow underneath the head. Now, as far as the legs go, and I offer these options in Shavasana as well, so this is almost like a supported Shavasana. You can keep your knees bent up with the pillow tucked behind the knee crease. That feels quite nice for low backs. But if we want to add this hip opener, we'll take Supta Baddha Konasana on our pillow. So I'm bringing the soles of the feet to touch. I'm sliding the pillow pretty close to my sit bones here and allowing the knees to fall open. And if it's more comfortable to be more in a Shavasana pose with your legs extended over the pillow, that's great too. And then with the arms, I'd like us to start with cactusing our arms out from our shoulders. So this is going to be that chest and heart opening. So we'll bend at the elbows, drop the elbows straight up from the shoulders, and then allow the backs of the hands to fall to the floor. Some of us might notice that one or both hands don't easily drop to the floor, and that's usually just due to some tightness across the front of the shoulders and chest area there. So if we give it some time, gravity can help traction us out. And then we'll close our eyes and we'll let go of all the other things happening around us and start turning our attention inward so that we can focus on our body, our breath, our brain. Just giving ourselves the next hour or so to stay centered and to be present. So with the eyes closed, just start to relax the whole body here. Allow the weight of the body to sink towards the ground. Find that very back center of the skull. Relax all those muscles around the face. Poofing the cheeks with air, swallowing a couple times. Feel some heaviness in the bones of the body. So the area that we've been talking about, Muladhara chakra, is associated with the bones in our body. So we loosen up the joints and just let the bones hang heavy towards the ground. This area is also associated with the legs and the feet, all the way from that low back and tailbone, pelvic floor, down the legs to the feet. So really let the legs hang heavy, whether they're in Baddha Konasana, Shavasana, or even if your knees are bent up. Let the whole weight of the legs from the hips to the knees, the ankles, and the feet to relax. As we're checking in with our body this morning, if we notice any areas that maybe feel a little extra tender today, or that we might be healing or taking care of, let's pause on those areas just for a moment, breathing into them. And on the exhale, we'll allow them to relax. Remembering that we each get to modify and adjust our practice accordingly. Every day is a new day. And one of the many beautiful aspects of yoga is that it's very flexible and it adapts to each of us. We never have to force or push our body into a pose. So as we continue to let our whole body relax here, let's now start to spread our awareness to the rhythm of the breath. Easy breathing in and out through the nose, and just notice the quality of our breathing this morning. The flow of the breath, any subtle movements of the body with the breath. Noticing that our body naturally expands on our inhales and naturally contracts on the exhales. And if we're on that little bit of lift underneath the back, we'll feel this opening through that chest and the heart. So we can really feel that expansion through that area of our body as we breathe. Let's also try to feel some expansion and contraction around the abdomen as we breathe. And we were adding a little bit of bandha or lock work with our breath. We were doing that from a seated position the last couple classes. We'll try to do the same here, just in a more relaxed posture. So you'll continue to breathe at an even, comfortable rate for your body. On our next inhale, we relax all the muscles. So the belly expands, the rib cage. We soften the pelvic floor. On our next exhale, gently contract the abdominal muscles, pulling the navel to the spine, and also try to tighten and squeeze up through the pelvic floor, the perineum, lifting that in and up. On the inhale, we relax. So we drop the pelvic floor muscles, you let the abdomen expand, and we fill ourselves up with fresh air and energy. The exhale, we add that contraction. Draw the belly in and up, especially that lower belly. Contract the pelvic floor muscles, give them a little squeeze in and up. And then again on the inhale, we relax everything. Let it all go. Let the body expand. So keep moving at your rhythm with these contractions and expansions. And if it ever causes any cramping or discomfort, you let go of the bandha work and you just breathe naturally. But if we can start to learn how to control these muscles, it really helps improve on a physical level our urinary health, reproductive organ health, and helps counter the effects of gravity on the pelvic floor. And same thing with those lower abdominal muscles. When we learn to breathe there, it helps improve the quality of our breath, our lung capacity, and we start to work more with the diaphragm to really pull that breath deep into the lungs, and also learn how to clean the lungs all the way back out, expelling all that old stale air and energy. So let's all try to flow through one more cycle of our breath here. This next breath might be our biggest breath of our morning yet. So when you get to that next inhale, we let everything expand and we really try to fill ourselves all the way up to the brim from the bottom to the top. And then a nice strong exhale, taking our time to empty every last drop from the top to the bottom. Drawing that low belly in, trying to give that pelvic floor a little squeeze. And feel like you're taking that tube of toothpaste and squeezing it all out. At the bottom of that exhale, we will let go of trying to control and follow the breath for a moment. Relax the muscles. Start coming back into the body here. So you can give those toes a little wiggle. Wiggle the fingertips. Rock the head side to side, depending if your head feels supported enough. And then on our props, we'll try to straighten our legs out over your pillow or whatever you might have. And then try to stretch your arms straight overhead as far as you can go. Now, if you are lifted up, that's going to be a pretty strong stretch for those shoulders, so just move mindfully. And then flex those feet, spread those toes, spread those fingers. Just start to Wake the body up here and create some space in it. Take one more big breath in. And then the next exhale, walk the feet in. Draw your knees in, and we're gonna roll to our right. So the left arm can come in front of you, or to whatever side is easiest for you. We're just gonna roll into our sleeping baby pose for a moment. And then we're gonna push ourselves up just high enough to slide our props out of the way. We are gonna lie flat back down on the floor and start some warming movements here for those legs and feet. But we can slide the pillows and the blankets out, unless you're using them for support for whatever reason. And we'll roll right back down onto our back. This time when we come onto our back, loosen up the clothing. Remember, if you have ponytails, you need to move them out of the way. Draw those shoulder blades under. We're gonna re-extend the legs down the middle of the yoga mat. Bring the legs close together, and then bring your arms down beside you as well. So this pose is called water pump pose, and we'll start to flow with our breath. So on our inhale, we'll re-extend those arms overhead, long body stretch. Flex your feet, pull your toes into your shin bones. Now on the exhale, float your arms back down beside you and point the toes forward to the front of your mat. So we were kind of doing the articulation with our feet, same thing. We're gonna inhale, spread the toes, flex the feet, reach overhead. Your low back will gently arch. Exhale, curl and point those toes. Draw the belly in and actively press your arms towards the ground. Use some of your muscles. Keep going. Inhale takes us overhead, water pump pose. Now we can add a little abdominal crunch here as you point the toes and drop the arms. Pull that low belly in, the head floats up, and you look towards your toes. So we're toning those abdominal muscles. Inhale, flex the feet, reach overhead, big stretch. Exhale, curl and point the toes. Pull that low belly in. Push your arms down strongly, floating the head up if you want that little abdominal work. One more time, water pump pose. Now we're gonna meet on the inhale. So next time your arms are overhead, just take a pause for a moment. We're going to move into flowing Pavanamuktasana. So this is another pose that improves our circulation. It's gonna start to warm the hip joints a little bit here. So on this exhale, pull the belly in, pump the arms down, but pull just your right knee in towards you. Now your head can lift back up. On the inhale, you re-extend the leg and the arms overhead. Exhale, draw the belly in, pull the left knee up, arms pump down beside you, the head may lift. Inhale, re-extend. So you're gonna continue to flow with your breath. Alternate your knees. Right side, a little bit of compression for that right abdominal wall. And then same on the left side. So this pose helps improve our digestion, tones the abs, and helps loosen the hips. So let's do one more to each side. One more to our right side. One more to our left. We'll catch up on the inhale, reaching those arms overhead. On this exhale, bend your right knee back up, but this time try to interweave all 10 fingers on the right shin bone. So this is the more traditional Pavanamuktasana or wind relieving pose. So the head is relaxed to the ground, the left leg is relaxed as well. You can point or flex your feet, whatever feels best. On the exhale, gently draw the right knee more towards the right armpit. So not directly into the chest, just slightly off towards the armpit or the shoulder. Now we will feel a little pinching across that right hip, that's normal. Let the hands do the work. If that's too much pressure for the knee, hold behind the knee instead. So we're compressing our ascending colon and the internal organs on our right side, and also giving that hip a nice stretch. Breathe it in. On the exhale, drop the right foot to the floor and just slide it back out. Inhale, both arms overhead. We want that blood to rush back out to the whole body. Spread your toes and fingers. Use your core. Exhale, bend that left knee up. Interweave the fingers. Maybe take your funky grip on the side, either over the shin bone or behind the knee. And then gently draw the left knee and your exhale towards the left armpit or shoulder. Shoulders are down, elbows are down. Let the hands do the work. Right leg is also grounded. The inhale, you might back off a little bit so you can take a nice big belly breath. Exhale, gently pull. Massaging descending colon. One more breath. We'll breathe it in. On the exhale, you'll release the foot to the floor. Slide the left leg out. Inhale, reach those arms overhead. Stretch it all out. Exhale, arms float down. Let's step our feet in towards our sit bones. Feet are parallel to each other, toes pointing to the front of your yoga mat. If you have a yoga block, you're welcome to place it between your inner thighs. We're going to flow through bridge pose. If you don't have the prop between your thighs, just keep your knees hips width apart, pointing towards the toes. Make sure your shoulders are nice and firm on the ground and that the neck is arched away from the ground. Now squeeze the backside and the buttock, press down through those arms and those feet, grounding as we lift our hips up. Exhale, you lower the back down. So really feel this connection to the ground again. That's this whole energy center, especially through the feet. Strengthen the back so we can stretch the front. If we want to add an upper back shoulder massage, when we squeeze to lift, those arms one more time reach up and overhead. And on the exhale, when the hips come down, the arms float down. Keep following that smooth, even rhythm of your breath, making our inhales equal in length to our exhales. The weight can shift towards your shoulders. Remember, the chest might move towards the chin, but avoid tucking the chin towards the chest. Good. Beautiful. Let's all do one more, whatever variation we're choosing to do. Getting a nice stretch through the front of those hips as well, countering all that sitting that we do. We'll meet on the exhale, roll everything back down. Take the prop out. Draw your knees into the body. Let's rock it side to side here. And then again, right arm will fall beside the head or whatever side is easiest for you in your space. We'll pause for a moment in sleeping baby pose. Allow our blood pressure to regulate here. Head on the arm. And then take your top hand to the ground. You can turn your heart towards the floor. Stretch your top leg to the front of your mat to help your body come up. So I'll come right into a seated position. Do sit up on a little bit of a prop to help free your hips, whether it's a folded towel, blanket, or you have some sort of cushion to sit up on. Any comfortable position with those legs. So Sukhasana is our easy cross. If you want to focus again on the area of the pelvic floor, Siddhasana is a nice pose to take. So you pull one heel right up towards the pelvic floor and then the other foot sits in front of it. I actually find that this is often easier for me than cross-legged pose because of the tightness I hold around my hips and low back. But make it work for you. Find your sit bones, sit up nice and tall. Extend those arms out. We'll do our spinal movements now. So flip the palms up. Inhale, nice big stretch up. Reach as high as you can. Good. Turn those palms out. Exhale, fingertips to the floor. Seated triangle. Right arm reaches up. Keep that right sit bone rooted as you lean to your left. This is lateral extension for our spine. We should feel a nice stretch through the waist. Use your muscles to inhale, bring it up. Switch arms. Nice big exhale. Leaning to our right and stretching the whole left side. Push that left sit bone down. Inhale pulls us up. We'll go one more time to each side. Feel free to turn the drishti down, forward, or upwards to change the stretch a little bit. Pull yourself up and we'll go one more time to our right side, really reaching up out of those hips. On the inhale, we'll meet back in center. Both arms reach up. We'll bring our palms to touch and exhale the hands to heart. From here, let's switch up the cross of our legs if we are sitting cross-legged, because we tend to always sit with the same leg in front. Find those sit bones. Interweave all 10 fingers. Nice strong grip in the hands. Flip your palms forward. Now this is purposeful rounding at the back. So we're going to hollow out the belly. Press our palms forward, drop the chin to the chest, and stretch out that whole back, especially between the shoulder blades. Inhale, tip your pelvis forward, float those arm bones up by the ears, lift and lengthen. Good. One more. Big exhale, scoop, tuck, and round, stretch it all out. And then one more nice big breath in to float up and grow as tall as you can up through that spine. Open the hands up, keep this length. Exhale, rotate to your right. Front hand might reach to opposite knee. The head and the eyeballs can peek behind you. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, nice big twist to our left. Keep those shoulders and chin parallel to the floor. Try to peek behind you. One more time to each side. Inhaling, create the space. Exhaling, gently moving into that space. Big breath in. And one more nice twist here to our left. Inhale, let's float everything back. We'll catch up here in center. Palms touch. Exhale to center. So let's take our movement now to our tabletop so we can start moving the whole body together. However you want to get there, add that extra cushion underneath the knees and shins if you like. Nice wide splayed fingertips here. Create as much space as you can between the fingers. Press into the earth. Again, stability, grounding that relates to this whole area of our body. Stack those knees underneath the hips and have a little bit of space between those feet and knees. Be mindful of where our head is in space. Do draw that low belly in slightly just to help keep your spine in neutral. Keep your hips level. Single leg stretch to start. So we just take that right foot back behind us. Open up the eye of the knee. Intensify that stretch by pressing the heel towards the ground. Breathe it in. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, stretch that left leg back. Toes are tucked under. Big stretch or as much as you want. Equal weight in those hands. Breathe it in. Exhale, tabletop. Options, fingertips or fists for wrists. Anytime your wrists want to take a break. Inhale, relax the belly. Lift the tail and the crown of the head coming into our gentle back bend. Exhale, draw that belly and try to lead with the tailbone, scooping that tailbone under, then rounding the back up and tucking the chin. Inhale, lift the tail, create space all the way up the spine to the crown of the head. Exhale, scoop that tail under, tuck and round it up. One more of each. Feel free to add little lateral movements or hold one of those if it feels really yummy for our back today. Sometimes we need a little bit more back bending. Sometimes we need a little bit more stretching of the muscles. And then we'll come back to our neutral position and let's visit our child's pose for a moment so we can give our low back a nice stretch. Opening the knees wider will give us more space for the belly, the heart, and the head. Touching those toes. Sitting hips to heels. To continue with the shoulder and heart opening, open your hands a little wider than the shoulders and really extend the index fingers forward as we drop the belly, the heart, and the head towards the ground. We do want that head to be grounded, so if the head doesn't easily touch, you'll slide your hands or arms or a prop underneath the forehead. Too much compression on the knees, either slide a pillow back there behind you to sit on, or simply keep your hips stacked above your knees and rest down on the forearms and hands. And again, feel the weight of the body connecting to the ground, building our strength from the ground up here, but also allowing ourselves to have moments of relaxation. Nice stretch all the way around that low back and hips. One more breath. So this next inhale, let's float our head up and rise up onto your fingertips. So we're on this Hasta Bandha. So my elbows and my wrists and my head are floating a little bit off the floor. On the exhale, we'll walk our hands off to the right-hand side of our mat. Simultaneously pull that left hip as far back as you can. The head can float towards the ground and might not touch. So we're just doing another lateral extension here to stretch out the side body. One more breath. You can also place your left hand on top of the right hand if you want a little bit more. Inhale, floats the head, fingertips. Walk yourself back to center. Exhale over to your left. Draw that right hip back and down. Keep the head floating between those upper arm bones. We'll take a few breaths here. A little bit deeper, place your right hand on your left hand. Try to sink the shoulders equally towards the ground, stretching the whole right side. Next, inhale, float the head up the fingertips, walk yourself back to center. From here, we'll ground back through the palms and bring our body back up to tabletop. Tuck those toes, readjust the knees, walk hands 1 hand's distance forward, scoop the belly in, and then we'll float up and back to stretch out our legs from child's pose and to take our first gentle inversion this morning, downward facing dog. So feel free to pedal those heels and really sinking one heel at a time as you bend that opposite knee. If you take a nice deep exhale and drop that heel down, you can really get a nice stretch all the way up the backs of those legs. Remember that we're rooting through the mound of the index finger and thumbs. So internal rotation in the hands, external rotation in the upper arm bones. So roll those upper arm bones away from the ears. Let that neck be nice and long, head floating. Continue to round that belly in slightly as we draw the belly back towards our thighs. And then shift the weight down to those heels. And let's find a moment of stillness with our breath in the pose. Modifications are just to bend your knees more deeply to take any pressure out of the low back here. So today what I want us to try, instead of walking our feet forward to our hands, I want you to all bend our knees now and walk your hands back towards your feet into our forward fold. You can drop the heels back down when you're ready. You can prance your legs here, one leg at a time. Remember, the modification for low backs is to keep those knees in a deeper bend and rest your elbows or hands on your thigh bones. Now, if we're going further into the pose, you can dangle the head in the arms or ragdoll hands to elbows, but your legs should be super strong, your feet should be rooted into the earth, and those lower bandhas should be working. So squeeze your pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, and Uddiyana Bandha, those lower abdominal muscles. That will support that low back as well. And today we're going to roll it up through our articulation of the spine. So bring your hands under your thighs, little micro bend in the knees, turn the fingertips in. Tuck the chin to the chest, and on the inhale, you're going to roll it up. So you're stacking one vertebra at a time. Make sure you're inhaling, inhaling, inhaling. The head will be the very last thing to come up. Remember, if you get lightheaded, you sit right down to the ground. Roll those shoulders up, and then float your arms slightly out beside the body here in Tadasana. Starting with that foundation in the feet, let's do a little bit of our footwork that we've been working on. So feet parallel, knees pointing to toes. Pick up all of your toes, spread them as wide as you can. And you can cheat and look down at your feet, that helps your brain. We're going to try to glue the big toes to the ground. And then the pinky toes, keeping the 3 toes in the middle up. It's intense, it's challenging. Sometimes one foot gets it before the other. Sometimes it lasts for a split second and then it goes away. All normal things, just do your best. And then we'll float that head back up, ears over shoulders. Now we can soften those toes to the ground. Turn the palms out. Let's all take a nice deep breath, reach those arms out and all the way overhead. Float those heels up, moving into palm tree pose. Bring the palms together. And exhale the heels and the hands back down to the heart. Couple more times. Big inhale, floats the arms out and up. And then we try to lift up on those tippy toes, strengthening our ankles and feet. Good. Exhale, slowly lower. One more time. See how tall we can get this morning. Stretch everything up, up, up. Good. Exhale to center. So we're going to do another balancing pose today. This is called, I think, White Swan drinks the water. I'm not sure. It's actually a Qigong movement. Since I was on the water for over 8 hours yesterday, I have water on the mind. And it has movement in this balance, so it will be a little bit more challenging, but it's quite a peaceful movement, as Qigong is. Qigong is like the grandmother to Tai Chi, and we're all interrelated. So for this pose, open your feet just slightly wider. They don't have to be wider than your hips, but they're not stacked right underneath the hip joints either. And these movements, we're kind of, again, sinking towards the ground. So we're allowing the weight of our lower half of the body to just kind of feel a little bit of buoyancy there. We'll take the hands, turn your palms forward, and as you inhale, make a little scooping action in the hands and pretend you're scooping up some water in your palms. And then you slide your hands close into just the front of the waistline here, just above the hips. So we're holding on to little pools of water in our hands. And then we'll shift our weight over into our right leg. On the inhale, lift the left knee up. And then touch the left big toe forward to the ground. Then flex the foot and touch the heel. And then the toe. And then lift up and lower down. Lean a little bit to your left. Inhale, right knee up. Big toe touches slightly forward. Flex, heel touches. Point, toe touches. Inhale. Exhale down. So we'll try that a couple more times to each side, a little bit to your right. And be mindful of the pools of water you're holding in your hands. Try not to spill any of the water out of the hands. And try to lift and then lower. Again, other side, lean a little bit to your left. It's toe, heel, toe, up, and lower. We'll try it one more time to each side. Good. It's okay if we get a little weeble wobbly, no problem. Pretend like you're standing next to some water. You're just trying to create the softest little ripples with the toe, the heel, the toe. Lift it up. One more time, leaning to our left. As softly as we can. Inhale. Exhale, we'll find ourselves back with our feet to the floor. We should still have the little pools of water in our hands. You're going to lift those palms up now towards your shoulders. This is called pushing up the walls. Flip your palms out to the sides of the room and take a big exhale and literally feel like you're pushing 2 walls out away from you. Now drop the hands super soft. Inhale, float them back towards your shoulders. Now big strong exhale, push. Use your muscles. You're pushing up 2 giant walls from beside you. Relax the hands. Inhale. Now we push the wall forward. So as you exhale, take both hands and push. Feel like there's a wall in front of you and you're pushing it out of your way. Soften the hands. Inhale. Nice big exhales through the nose. Push. Soften. Inhale. This time on this exhale, palms to the earth. Exhale, push strongly down through both hands, all the way back towards the ground. Turn the palms out. Inhale up. Big stretch. Palms touch. Exhale to heart. Good. So from here, let's come back to the front of our mat because I want us to get into some deeper stretches on the floor again. So if we've moved ourselves around, we were on the back of our mat, so now we can come to the front. Shoulders over hips, stand tall in our Tadasana. Ears over shoulders. Next inhale, we'll re-extend those arms overhead. Extended mountain, little bit back bend if you want, gazing upwards. Exhale, bends the knees. We hinge from the hips and we go back to our forward fold today. Sliding down, taking a moment here to stretch things out, prance the legs, loosen up the head and neck. This inhale, let's do our halfway lift. Lifting up the chest, little squeeze through the upper back. And then on this exhale, we'll plant our hands and step it back into downward facing dog for a moment. Again, walk your heels one leg at a time. Disperse that weight through the fingertips. Make sure you're drawing your shoulders away from the ears. Little strength in the belly. Next, inhale. Let's float forward into our plank pose. I feel every single muscle in my body today, but we might as well do a plank while we're all together, because it's so much easier to do these together than alone. Now, kneeling plank, totally fine, but you really got to scoop that tailbone under, press the ground away from you. Forearm plank is optional as well if it's too much for the wrists. Smile, squeeze the muscles to the bone. Again, feel connected to the earth below us. Feel like we're trying to press all the ground away. One more big breath in. This exhale, we are going to come onto our bellies. So if you need to resituate yourself, do so. You can drop to the knees first and then draw your elbows in, and we'll lower all the way down to our belly. Take your hands underneath your forehead or to one ear. Relax the feet behind you, turning the toes in and letting those heels fall open. Give your hips a little wiggle. Just relax the low back and the buttocks here. So from here, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, squeeze the elbows in and point the chin forward. Activate through your feet, keeping your legs nice and wide if you take care of your low back. Or you may choose to try to zip up the feet and legs together like the tail of a snake. On our inhale, Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Squeeze the upper back, mid back. Your glutes help support you a little bit. Keep the neck long. We're going to move right into Sphinx pose. So we're going to slide our elbows straight forward underneath those shoulders. This is a gentle back bend. At this point, you can one more time relax the feet behind you. So I'm just letting my heels flop open and I'm relaxing the glutes. I'm pressing the elbows down into the ground. And I'm energetically drawing my elbows back towards my torso, extending the crown of the head forward and up, and feeling like I'm pulling my chest forward and up. So we might even feel this stretch out our upper abdomen, even through those lower ribs. It is important that we keep the neck nice and long and don't sag or sink into the joints. So we're pressing the ground away from us. If you ever need to take a break, you take a break. And your shoulders should be stacked right underneath the, your elbows should be stacked right underneath your shoulders. So if you were to spin your hands in, you should be able to take hold of those elbow creases. So we'll take a breath in. On the exhale, turn the head and look over your right shoulder. Maybe you find a foot back there. Inhale the head back to center. Exhale, peek over that left shoulder. Inhale back. One more time to each side. Exhale, use your eyes as well. Stretch those eyes out, open them up nice and wide. Inhale back. And one more time to our left. Inhale, we'll bring the head back. We'll flare our elbows back out, stack the hands, and take a break. If you were turning your head, turn your head the opposite direction this time. And just breathe, relax the belly and the back. So the next pose we're going to move into, we've done this a couple of times in my classes. It's a really big shoulder and front of the chest stretch. It can feel quite nice, but again, we don't want to force anything. We shouldn't be grimacing and grunting. You should be able to breathe. Tarasikam Asana. So from on our belly, and wiggle myself back here, we'll start with the right arm. So you'll take your right arm and stretch it straight up from the shoulder with the palm down to the ground. Now your left hand will press into the ground near your left shoulder. And you actually might want, I should have mentioned this, sorry. I'm going to grab my folded towel and place it near my head because your head might want a little support once we move into this pose. So if you need to slide a pillow or a prop there, go ahead and do so. So my left hand pushes into the ground and I am rolling onto my right side. So the right arm is behind me. Add that prop for the head if you want it.
And now my hips and legs are stacked. And this does turn into a little bit of a balancing act. So if you want to take a more passive stretch, bend your left knee and drop it down to the ground in front of you. So you don't have to be as far back. If you want more, the left knee bends up to the ceiling and you try to plant the sole of the left foot to the ground. There's an option to take the right knee up towards the ceiling as well, so your knees are almost in like a bridge pose. I don't find that one comfortable, but I do like my left knee bent up. And then from there, another option is to float the left arm up, palm faces behind you. At that point, you would flip the right palm on the floor up to the ceiling, and you try to bring the left hand to the right hand and interweave all 10 fingers. Now that might not happen today, it might be miles away, and that's okay, don't force it. The breath is flowing evenly and smoothly in and out through the nose. One more breath. And then of course we want to reverse out, same way we went into it. Remembering our whole practice is a moving meditation, so every movement should be done mindfully. Bring the hand back, flatten the leg back out, roll onto that belly. We can stack our hands back underneath the head, forehead, or turn the head the opposite direction. Take a nice big belly breath before we do the other side. So other side, slide your left arm out straight from the shoulder. And this is another pose that can feel very different from one side to the next. Right hand to the ground in front of the right shoulder. Right hand pushes down to roll onto our left side. Legs can be stacked. The hand can help with the balance. More passive, bend your right knee, drop it to the ground in front of you. A little bit more, turn the right knee up to the ceiling, foot to the floor behind the left leg. You can try to bend that left knee up as well if you want. Just see what that does. I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. Even more, right arm up, palm faces behind, left palm turns up, and at that point you might be able to grip the hands. If not, you can either just let gravity traction you out or bring the hand back in front. Really good pose to release a lot of tension and tightness in there as long as we do it kindly. One more breath. Inhale brings the right arm up. Exhale again. Mindful movements. Unravel, same way you went into it. Rewind out of the pose. Take a break on the belly. And then we'll slide those hands underneath our shoulders, tuck the elbows in, chin forward, tuck those toes under, pull that low belly in, and carefully, we just stretched out those shoulders, so now we're gonna use those muscles again. So you wanna hug those muscles to the bone. We're gonna push ourselves up, come back to tabletop, and start off with a couple tiny little baby cats and cows. So not too big, just to start to counter, stretch out the back. Inhaling to our gentle back bend. Exhaling, rounding up. And then once those muscles start to loosen back up, you can take it a little bit further. And then we'll revisit our child's pose one more time. This time, if we want to take the more traditional version, you keep the knees and feet touching. Sink those heels back. Now this is going to be a big counter twist to the back bending we just did, so take your time to try to melt the head. If the head doesn't touch, stack your fists or prop underneath the forehead. This version often gives my low back a much bigger stretch, which feels good, but I often can't get my head to touch in this version, so you just give yourself some support, but over time as my muscles start to lengthen, I can then eventually try to bring the head down. And then if your head is touching down, your hands sweep down to your feet. And if you're near your feet, you can take your hands and give your feet a little bit of love today. and knead and massage into the soles of the feet. Or just let the weight of the shoulders and arms hang down. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands under our shoulders, tuck that chin. Again, round it up nice and slow. Restack the spine. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. And then we'll transfer our weight over to either hip and bring our feet forward. All right, let's see where we're at. So we have time to do one seated pose here. Let's do we were doing Janu Shirshasana. So we'll continue with that. We'll do Janu Shirshasana on our right side and left side. So you still might want a little bit of lift underneath those sit bones. And we don't need a strap for this version. I actually would like us to use more of our muscles to hold us in place. I'm going to sit a little lower to the ground on my folded towel here. So we want to be up on those sit bones. Move the flesh out of the way. We start in Dandasana. So Dandasana is a challenging pose in and of itself. Again, because I'm really tight, I have my knees pretty bent today, just so I can sit up nice and tall. And then flexing the feet, I'll try to get my legs to start straightening out here as best that I can. Hands can come beside the hips. Continue to pull that low belly in, stack the spine vertically. Step your right heel in towards the sit bone. And then we'll allow the right knee to fall open. Take a prop underneath the knee if it wants some support. So coming back to this pelvic floor area, we can slide that right heel as close to the perineum as possible if you have that flexibility in the ankle joint and the sole of the foot presses into the inner thigh. Still sitting up as tall as possible, we're going to rotate to our left for a moment. So take the right hand to the outside of the left thigh. And this left leg is active. So my foot is still flexing. I'm engaging that quad. Gentle twist here. And then we'll turn to face back to that extended leg. And then bring your fingertips to the ground to frame that leg. Align your heart towards the knee and the toes. And then we'll gently start to walk those fingertips just slightly forward. Again, I can barely move. This is as far as I'm going today. But I want you to lead with your heart. So this is a big stretch for the low back. So you do need to make sure that you're engaged through the core. Now some of you are going to have a lot more flexibility than me, but still with awareness, just don't flop down into the pose. Lead with the heart, extend the spine. You're trying to hinge from the hips. Continue to flare your elbows out, even if you're bringing your belly to your thigh. Try to keep your chest open. And then some of you that are close, you'll be able to tuck the chin to the chest, Jalandhara Bandha, throat lock, and press your forehead to your knee. And we'll try to take 2 more breaths in our pose, wherever we are in the pose. Our next inhale will bring us out. So especially if you've gone further into it, if your chin is tucked, forehead to knee, you may articulate and round up, walking your hands back. If you're still more lifted and extended like me, we'll just inhale and lift up to the crown of the head. Take a hold of the right knee, float it up. Slide right leg out to meet left. Pause and stack pose, Dandasana. Sit up nice and tall. Align all 10 toes, including the pinky toes. And then exhale, we'll step that left foot in. Let the left knee open. Heel draws towards that pelvic floor as much as we can. Support the knee as needed. Flex that right leg. Sit up tall and we'll rotate slightly to the right. So we can take our left hand to the outside of that right thigh. Just doing a little counter twist here to help our spine align with that leg. Exhale, face forward. Fingertips frame the leg. Lengthen, and on the exhale, we're trying to hinge from the hips and lead with the heart. Even if the knee's slightly bent, that's okay. So we're getting a stretch up the back of the right leg. For me, I just feel it all in my low back today, but that's okay. It was worth it. Happy, tired muscles. Continue to lengthen and stay more upright. Those of you that have the ability to bring the belly towards the thighs and you're closer to your thigh bone, exactly, good. You can tuck your chin and you can try to make that contact point with the forehead and the knee. If you have that throat lock, it is a little bit more challenging to breathe, but just little sips of air in and out through the nose. And there's no reason, especially if we feel the heel and the pelvic floor, that we can't be squeezing, engaging Mula Bandha Rupa. 2 more breaths. Our next inhale will bring us up. Remember, if you're tucked, you can round. If you're extended, just lift up. Take your time. Inhaling, inhaling, inhaling. Good. Once you sit up nice and tall, float the left knee up. Slide left foot forward. Hands beside the hips. Prop up your spine. Flex those feet, Dandasana. Breathe it in. And then exhale, let it go. All right, time to come back down onto our backs. We'll do a couple more nice stretches for our legs here. We can slide off of our props. If you want to do the slow roll down today and reach your fingertips forward and hollow out that belly and take it down, you are more than welcome to. If you want to join me in the easier way, roll to one hip, walk your hands down, slide an arm out so that we can roll back onto our backs. Take a moment, loosen everything up, adjust your hair, your clothing, your surroundings, walk those shoulder blades under. Round the belly in to hug those knees in. Give them a little rock side to side. Our other gentle inversion, waterfall pose, stretch the legs up to the ceiling, massage, vigorously rub those muscles up and down, create some heat and blood flow. And then take your hands behind your thighs and try to press your thigh bones into your hands. Feet may be flexed, pointed a couple times to give them a little stretch. And then we're going to bend the knees back in, open your knees nice and wide for Baddha Konasana, reaching the hands towards the feet or the ankles. Trying to bring the soles of the feet as close together as possible. If you can make the connection with the 4 points, that's great. If just the mound of the big toe and heel touch, that's fine too, wherever you're at today. And then gently drawing the heels towards that pubic bone. Let your elbows help open the thighs. Keep the low back and the shoulders sinking into the ground. Take a breath or two. And then from here, we're going to play a little bit with our single leg and Supta Konasana stretches. So some of us might have to switch our grip to our outer thighs or foot, whatever works for you. If you want to do the more traditional version, you take yogi toe grip. So in both hands, you make the peace symbol, and then you glue the index finger and middle fingers together. The palms face towards each other, and those 2 fingers slide right between the big toe and the second toe. Your ring finger and pinky finger are resting on this top knuckle to hold the toe in place. And the thumb rests just on the tippy top of the toe. And remember, whenever you're pulling on the toe pulls back. So you don't want to pull that toe out of alignment. So you start again in Baddha Konasana. And on the inhale, we try to stretch our right leg out 45 degrees. Big stretch there for the back and inner thigh. Rolling to the right and touching the foot down might give you a little bit more of a stretch. The exhale pulls us all the way back to center. And then we inhale, stretch out the left leg. Really try to open up that knee. Maybe a little tip to the side here, touching the toes. And then exhale, pull it back. Let's try that one more time each side. Big inner thigh growing muscle stretch. Exhale. One more time to the left. Exhale. Repeat one more time with each leg, or if you want to try Supta Konasana, you open both legs out into that V. If you have the toes, your toes pull back, pressing those heels out, shrug your shoulders down. You can always move your hands to a different position. Take a deep breath in. This next exhale, we're going to try to squeeze the legs together. This is actually more like Paschimottanasana. I'm not a great visual example, again, because I can't do a lot of flexion like that. But some of you might be able to even bring the feet over the head. Keep your knees bent if it's too much for your low back. And then we'll release our grip and float those legs back up to waterfall using our muscles. Float your arms down. Hold for a moment. And then exhale, we'll bend the knees in, feet stay parallel. Reach the arms up from the shoulders, supine twist. Exhale, lower the knees to the right, slide props under the thighs. Sink the left shoulder to the ground, turn the head to the left. To deepen the twist, place your right hand on your top thigh, or straighten the left leg out to the right, slide your right hand down, trying to take a hold of the lateral edge of that foot. But simultaneously pull your left shoulder down, look to the left, closing the eyes, and just start to relax. Bringing out any tension, any tightness in the body, any stress in the mind. Let it go. Next breath, reverse out of the pose, same way you went into it, mindful movement. Every part of our practice counts. Head and knees float back to center. If you need to scooch or adjust before the other side, do so. Exhale, knees to the left. Add your props. Sink the right shoulder down, look to the right. To deepen the twist, left hand to top thigh, encouraging those legs a little closer to the ground. Or straighten the right leg out to the left, slide the left hand down to the lateral edge of that foot. But continue to pull the right shoulder down. Close the eyes. Slow the breathing down as we come to the end of our practice here. Relax the face. And our next breath, reverse out of the pose, however you went into it. Head and knees will float back up. This time on our exhale, we'll try to wrap our arms around those shin bones as far as we can, taking hold of opposite wrists or elbows, head floats up, nose to knees, giving ourselves and our body a great big loving hug here this morning. Breathe it in. And then on our exhale, we get to let it go. So when you drop the feet to the floor, if you want to bring one arm overhead and roll to the right, we can gather up some of our props again for Shavasana. And we can take that supported chest opener again in Shavasana. If you still have your blanket or towel in its fold, have your pillow nearby to place underneath your legs. Either revisiting Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet touching and the knees opening. If you have an eye covering, use your eye covering to help the mind and body relax a little bit more quickly. I will guide us through a little bit of verbal relaxation. Give us several moments of peace and quiet. And then use the singing bowl to bring us out to finish our class together today. So we'll take a moment here to get organized, to rearrange ourselves, our props, and our surroundings. Clearing our space of anything that doesn't need to be there, and bringing anything into our space that helps us move into a deeper relaxation. Find the very back of the skull. Relax all the little muscles across the face. Let the eyes sink into the sockets. As we unfurl the brow, relax the eyebrow center, poof the cheeks, wiggle out the mouth, relaxing the tongue and lower jaw to gravity. Adjust the shoulders, let the arm bones roll open beside the body, palms up, fingertips curl up naturally. Relax all the way down the back and the front, around the abdomen. Let the weight of the legs sink into the ground. Again, try to feel all the bones in the body get nice and heavy and sink towards the earth. Let the weight of the bones sink towards the earth. Feel that connection from the ground and a sense of surrender as we release the whole weight of the body into the ground. The seed mantra associated with Muladhara Chakra is the mantra LAM, L-A-M. Other mantras associated with this area are I am grounded, I am safe, I am secure. So if the mind becomes distracted or wanders away, we can either gently bring it back to the peaceful, easy rhythm of our natural breath, or mentally repeat one of these mantras over and over again. And we'll give ourselves just one more moment to let go, to relax, and sink into Shavasana. Before we move our body, simply notice the whole body relaxed, the weight of the body connected to the ground below. And then gently start to come back to the breath and breathing some life back into the body, waking up the big toe, second toe, all the toes. Wake up the fingertips, a little rock of the head side to side. And depending where we are with our props, we can try to extend those legs back down the middle of the mat, reaching arms back overhead into our long body stretch, and try to create as much space as we can. Left stretching, right stretching, front and back, point and flex the feet. And then take one more big breath in and just try to open up the whole body as much as we can. And the exhale floats those arms down. So if we're on a supported blanket, just be mindful of drawing those knees in. If you're doing a little rock, maybe just walk your feet to the floor. Right arm falls beside the head, rolling and pausing in our fetal position, resting the head on the arm, taking a moment. And then keep the eyes closed or soft, press down into the ground. We'll bring our body back up, revisiting any comfortable seated pose to take just a couple more nice big breaths together today. So sitting up nice and tall on our sit bones, lengthening up through the crown of the head, being mindful of our surroundings. We'll reach those arms out to the sides of the body, palms up. Inhale, breathing, float those arms all the way up, and let's gather up everything we need for the rest of this beautiful day. Turn those palms out, even bigger breath out. Float the fingertips all the way back down to the floor as we let go of all that other junk we don't need today. And one more breath in, let's reach it up. Palms touch, exhale, hands to heart. Humbly bow the head down towards the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and remembering to be grateful to all the people that are making it possible for us to stay connected and to practice our yoga together today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace.